Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man, at your service. Tonight, of all nights, I'm wearing a Ramsey blue. It's blue and it's a Ramsey. It's very, very good. Lovely tartan. I don't know if you can hear, but after all the great weather we've been having on this endless limbo of lockdown, it's absolutely pissing down right now. We've had gorgeous weather and it has been lovely. You know, it's added to, the torment of not being able to go out to the beach and have picnics and stuff like that and romp in the park and run over the hills and dales singing like Julie Andrews. But, and of course they've been saying, this Easter, don't you be going out, don't you have barbecues, don't go to any house parties. Well, that'd be a fine thing to be fucking invited to something, but no, nothing. And anyway, now the weather has now unleashed itself upon us. But in a weird way, it's kind of refreshing as well. You know, after you've had days and days, in fact weeks of good weather and no rain at all, it's actually quite, brings a bit more of a zest into the air. And of course, a new leak in that goddamn conservatory roof, the endless catastrophe that is that roof. But hey, life goes on. Anyway, this is going to be a whistle-stop little review now, because obviously I'm doing nothing but playing with my swords and axes and action figures and watching movies. Oh yes. And I watched, can't call it a classic. You can't, because it isn't. But it is good fun. It's good 70s hokum, high concept, and kind of like, it looks like a big A-list movie. It isn't, but it's got a lot of stars in it, and it's quite ambitious. This is the Medusa Touch from 1978, starring Richard Burton, Lee Remick, French actor Lino Ventura. Lino Ventura, it's a good name, isn't it? And the great Harry Andrews and Gordon Jackson. And it's based on Peter Van Greenaway's novel of the same title. And it details Richard Burton is basically like Carrie White in Carrie. He's telekinetic, he's got uber powers with his mind. But they're not powers for the good and the betterment of mankind. Because he learns from an early age, as we will learn throughout the course of the movie, and the detective story that takes place around it, that his hatred for authority, and his parents, he doesn't even like them, his nanny. So using the power of his mind, he manages to assassinate his nanny, his parents, teacher, and various other people, to the point where he can bring down a jumbo jet. A jumbo jet? Sorry, that's my finances there for you. A jumbo jet. A jumbo jet, which he, horribly presaging the likes of 9/11, it does crash into London and into a big building. But the film starts where he is watching what looks like a sort of retweaked version of Apollo 13. A NASA module is stuck in orbit around the moon, and these guys are trapped in there, and he's watching this. And someone breaks into his London apartment, picks up a handy statue of, I think it's Nelson, and bludgeons him to bits. Bang, 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 blood sprays onto the TV screen. He ain't dead though. This French inspector called Brunel, who is played by this, I forgot the name again, Lino Ventura. It's a great name, but I'm never going to remember it. And the reason why he's in this movie is because Lord Lou Grade and the director Jack Gold needed a bit of a cash injection. There's that jumbo debt again. A cash injection to get the film off the ground and to secure all this great big name cast. So a lot of the money came from France. And France said, well, if you're going to use our money, we want one of our stars in it. So this Lino Ventura, I remembered it, yes, Lino Ventura was brought over, and he replaces a character in the original novel. Peter Van Greenaway wrote a series of books with the same lead character, and they were all like the Medusa Touch. They were all horror, sci-fi, mysteries, whodunits, with a very sort of, crazy sort of, genre bent to it. And it was a Detective Inspector Cherry. Now, he was the star of all this series of novels. Only one ever got made into a film. But obviously, they took out that main character and brought a Frenchman in. As far as I know, Peter Van Greenaway wasn't very happy about that. But then again, would you be if your main character was completely replaced? But anyway. So they discover that Morlar, his name is, this Richard Burton character, and he's an esteemed novelist. But he's not dead. So he's whisked off to intensive care. He's hooked up to all sorts of machines, monitors, ECGs. Gordon Jackson is the doctor in charge of all this. And Brunel has to try and work out, well, who attempted to kill this guy and why? So they investigate by reading through this guy's journals. So that's how they find out about his previous, all the things that have happened to him throughout his life. And also they interview Lee Remick, who plays Dr. Zonfeld, something, who's a psychologist who's been studying this guy. But she knows, and she's worked out how dangerous this guy is, that he's the one who's been bringing down the plane, who's been causing other catastrophes and disasters using the power of his mind and his hatred for the establishment and for authority. He's on a bit of a vengeance kick. He's also a bit of a megalomaniac as well. So, already, I think you can guess who the person was that clubbed him over the head, because they realised just how dangerous this guy could be. Yes, it was Lee Remick. Ah, well, yeah. So what? I bet you've seen the film. It was on TV a gazillion times throughout the early 80s. That's when I first saw it. And now I have it on Blu-ray. Blu-ray! Like the Blue Ramsey. The Blu-ray. And throughout the course of the film, you're learning about a huge, prestigious state event which is going to take place at Minster Cathedral. Minster Cathedral in London? It doesn't exist. It's clearly meant to be Westminster Abbey, but they filmed extensively interiors and exteriors for this Minster Cathedral at Bristol Cathedral, and for what is the huge, exciting, cataclysmic finale of this movie. You learn the Queen's going to be in attendance at this event. Hundreds of dignitaries are going to be there. You've got the Grenadier Guards are outside. You've got ITN TV crews are all there as well. At the same time as all this, you're learning about there's protests, anti-nuclear protests outside the nuclear reactor at Windscale. In the novel, it was actually meant to be Holy Loch, where the American nuclear submarine base is housed. Which, incidentally, 1980 and 81, the film Who Dares Wins, the great Lewis Collins, SAS actioner, also by Lord Lou Grade, that does feature the Holy Loch base. But the whole film builds up. The detective, Brunel, finally begins to believe Lee Remick's psychologist that this guy really is a danger. And they keep hearing snippets about Minster Cathedral. Something's going to happen there. And we're privy to seeing cracks and stuff in the masonry. So as this finale thunders to a head, this detective and Harry Andrews, the chief superintendent, everyone and all their men are trying to warn all the priests and all the security that, look, don't let this event take place. Don't do it, because it's going to be a death trap. But of course the priests are going, oh, no, it's fine. The whole reason we're doing this is to get funding so we can renovate the building and restore it and all this kind of shit. But finally, what happens is that the detective realises that the one who tried to kill Morlar is Lee Remick, his psychologist. And in the meantime, while he's at the church trying to get it all evacuated, she goes to try and kill Morlar again in hospital, but she can't do it. He's all wrapped up in bandages, and it's a great role for Richard Burton just to lie there. Although you do see him in flashbacks a lot, and suddenly his eyes open and he looks at her. Next thing you know, it's cuts back to her apartment, and she's injected herself and she's killed herself, but she left the tape recording saying why, that she failed again, and her fears about this guy. And Brunel has gone there and he's listened to the tape. So now, totally, he believes this guy is is good as a mass murderer, and he's now got something more nefarious planned. Even though he's lying there as in a comatose state, his brain is still super active, and he's going to trigger the collapse of Minster Cathedral. So this helter-skelter finale commences. It's brilliant. The cracks all appear. Gargoyles and crucifixes begin to topple and crash down. The Queen is coming up with a cavalcade. Brunel realises, shit, right, it's happening. I've got to go and kill, this novelist, this psychokinetic, scanner. He basically is a scanner. So he races off, almost collides with the Queen's fucking limo. Gets past that, heads to the hospital, leaving his men to stop the Queen in her tracks, and they're running out, stop, they're getting arrested. No, I'm police, don't go in there, the building's going to collapse. So they have to turn the Queen around. In the meantime, the cathedral is coming down. It is raining. Hang on, the quote is, "I will bring the whole edifice down on their unworthy heads." That is what Richard Burton's character has warned he will do. And it happens. And it's great. It's such an exciting sequence. People get trapped in there. There's a stampede. These huge... Now, they're clearly... This is pre-CG days, so it's all practical effects. And some of the best, albeit fake, lumps of concrete are smashing down on people. And it's horrible. They're getting bashed on the head and hitting their blood sprayed up. Stained glass window hits some girl and blood flies everywhere. People are getting clobbered by huge blocks of masonry. There's only one bit where, because they're clearly polystyrene, but there's some weight to them. And when they come crashing down, it's convincing. And it hurts. You go, oh, no. But there is one bit where a whole bunch of people are all trapped, and someone does nudge a huge piece of, well, would be impossible to nudge, stone slab, and it does move. But that's the only bit. There is another bit with the bell ringers, which sadly is quite amusing. You shouldn't laugh at it, but you do. They're all there, boing, boing, and the fucking bells come down, and one of them boings on this monk's head, and they're all like, on the ropes. But it is tremendously exciting. The film is pure and utter hokum. It is. You'd had Carrie, you'd had Patrick, you were gonna get scanners. You'd had the Fury as well. The Fury, which was another great, almost like scanners, Carrie / scanners, about mental abilities, and you get Firestarter. You get all this sort of thing. It's a huge, subgenre of people with these mental powers to take down the world. And the Medusa Touch. Although you never find out why it's called the Medusa Touch, because Medusa with their eyes could turn to stone. That's not what he does. His eyes do transmit power, and a lot of stoneware comes down and kills people. Maybe that's the connection. I don't know. But it's great good fun. And poor Harry Andrews gets clobbered as well. And I love him. He's a great, one of Britain's great, stern face. He never cracks a smile. And if he does, you don't trust it. You're like, oh no, he's gonna send me to the firing squad. You never trust that guy. But he's great in this, and sadly he looks up at one stage and this big huge slab comes down and he's out the picture. Brunel gets back to the hospital, and Gordon Jackson, they're all watching it on TV screens, and the destruction of Minster Cathedral. And quickly Brunel looks at him, and it's one of them, them graph things where the needle's going off the chart, and the clicking noise it makes is really suspenseful as well, because his brain's in hyperactivity. So quickly he pulls all the tubes out of him, including the drip, blood, takes that out, and blood begins to drip all over the sheets, the hospital bed, and Morlar's eyes just shut, and his head goes over like that. And they think it's all over. But all of a sudden, another doctor goes like, "But detective, look at his hand." And his hand's doing that. And all of a sudden, he should be dead. Brain waves, brain activity, and his hands like that. So he goes, he wants to write something. Give him a pen and some paper. And he writes, wind scale on it, which is the nuclear reactor site. So in other words, you can forget about fucking, Minster Cathedral. I've done that now. Now I'm going to focus on this, and that's a nuclear reactor. Ba-boom-ski! And it just ends there. They're like, oh, it's fucking brilliant. It's daft and hokey as hell. All the flashback stuff is kind of, it's 70s horror. A little bit of The Omen, with strange accidents occurring, which are all, obviously, they're not that strange because he's planned it in his head and he's made it happen. But, it's great. Now, this is the thing. What's been playing behind you is the awesome score. You know what I'm like. If I'm going to review a movie, I'm going to play its music as well. But what you've probably heard it a bit better than me because the speakers are right beside where you are, so you're hearing it more than I am. But I'm going to turn up in a minute. Michael J. Lewis, not Michael J. Fox. Michael J. Lewis was a master of the chase sequence and hyperkinetic, pure 70s orchestral soundtracks. Brilliant stuff. North Sea Hijack, Sphinx, which is a terrible film. And by the way, that's playing right now as well. I'll treat you to a bit of that, but don't bother with the film. Do not bother with the film Sphinx. It's one of the worst films ever made. But he also did Theatre of Blood, the great Vincent Price horror revenge story, which is great. And Harry Andrews is in that as well. But anyway, listen to this. This is the main theme, and it's the main action theme to the Medusa Touch. You've got to realise this is when they know, shit, that cathedral's coming down, it's going to kill everybody. We've got to get people out, and we've got to kill this fucking guy as well. And what Michael J. Lewis does, he gets this pulse-pounding rhythm, this beat, and then he'll build it up and up and up and up and up to absolutely, sphincter-tingling levels of pure excitement and suspense. I'll tell you what, I'm going to shut that door because that bloody rain is battering. Should have done that at the start, shouldn't I? Really? Hey ho. That's a bit tribal there, doesn't it? Xylophone and a bit of woodblock and percussion. But you wait till this gets started. I'm laughing because I find it really exhilarating, and it just brings a big shit-eating grin to my chops. This way, people are looking up at cracks and things and going, And this French guy is beginning to think, maybe there's something to this after all. That's Roxy the Wonder Dog hurtling down the stairs there. And there she is. See, using the power of my mind, I made her appear and slurp water. Okay. I promised you build up, didn't I? That was a little suspenseful interlude there. A lead up, not an interlude. See, the violence in that final sequence is pretty, you don't expect it, like. Michael J. Lewis, master of really dynamic, exciting tracks like this. Suspenseful finales, bass drum. Incidentally, Michael J. Lewis, he's a great composer. Someone erroneously put on Wikipedia only recently that he died. He had to come on and say, oh, I'm not dead. Sorry to disappoint you, but I'm actually still very much alive. A bit like Richard Burton's character in this. His eyes open at the end as well. People are stampeding up down the aisles, they're trying to get out. Gargoyles are coming crashing down. Columns, masonry, tumbling, smashing people to smithereens. It's exciting, isn't it? You know. An organ, that's an organ there. Great, you know, there's a lot of extras in it, and they're very convincing. You know, you look at it, back in those days when you had a lot of action in these big disaster movies, you'd always see people like sort of 3 or 4 people back from the lead character, and they'd be sort of smiling because, oh, no one's going to see me, and they're laughing to themselves. Someone's stopping to talk to someone else when they should be running. Not so in this movie. They're all giving it their all, you know. And they get stuck against the railing as well, all the hands come through the railing. Can't get out. And even though it's shot in Bristol, they managed to hire 2 red London buses. So you keep seeing these London buses go past. And it's only 2. At one stage you see the 2 of them go past together. We're gonna get our money's worth out of this, you know. Brunel's got to the hospital, pull all the stuff out. This has got to stop him. The cathedral's coming down on TV. And all of a sudden, you know, the hand starts going again. They're like, shit, he ain't dead. Wind scale, and like that. And then the music starts up again, like end credits, end of the world. Isn't it brilliant? You know, I love playing music like this. You know, we're here and in my earphones or wherever I am. So if I'm running for the train or something, which is frequently the case, I play chase music like that, and I'll fucking hail through the streets. People are thinking, what the hell? And I'll be weaving in and out like people and traffic and all that sort of stuff, like leaping over, you know, benches and things. We're like the devil's on my heels. Or I'm like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible 45. Isn't that brilliant? There's the end credits. Right, now, to give you a taste of what Michael J. Lewis delivered for Sphinx. Very similar, but you've got a bit of, you know, Middle Eastern sort of flavour to it, exotic. But how similar is this? Sphinx, by the way, based on the Robin Cook novel. Robin Cook during the 70s, I was an avid reader. I would devour anything at all. And Robin Cook wrote the medical thriller Coma, which I read and thought was shit. They made a shit film as well. And they did Sphinx, and it's filled with some kind of like mystery, almost horror. Bollocks. It's crap. And the film is unbelievably bad. Unbelievably bad. I forget the girl's name who's in it, but she's hot, and she did do it. Famously, she did a nude spread as well. Like, but she's a proper actress, you know, and but she's a bad actress at that. Very pretty, but a bad actress. And she plays this Egyptologist who has to go out there to uncover this mystery, this curse, this crossing and double crossing and triple crossing. Can't trust anyone. And wherever she goes, she's getting chased. Though that makes it sound quite exciting. It's not. It's boring as hell. But she's also an Egyptologist who's never been to Egypt, and she hasn't got a fucking clue. And she regards all the Arabs as basically savages. It's so bad. And you've got the great Frank Langella in it as well. Dracula from 1979. Frank Langella. He's awesome. But not so in this. But Michael J. Lewis and his pounding chase music again. Snake Charming. There's me doing a spot of racial stereotyping there. Running through markets and all that, like pots and urns and people with them things, them glass bubbly jars. Kabuki thing, I don't fucking know. And if I remember rightly, there's no Sphinx in it either. So what the fuck is it called that for? It's good though, isn't it? It's exciting again. Very similar sort of feel to it, to what you hear for the Medusa Touch. Again, you've got a good bass line, you've got lots of cymbals clashing. Hide in one of them wicker baskets, like Marion in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Oh yeah. This does for archaeology what I can't think of another analogy. Because it just doesn't inspire me. It doesn't give me any imagination. So you got a nice little lilt here, a softer piece, a break in that momentum. But he's going to come back, isn't he? Isn't he? Because she's not out the hot water yet. That little exotic piece of mysterioso, which always means danger. Trust nobody. Look behind you. We're off again. Down alleyways. Crossroads, dodging snakes, scorpions, dodging Tony Robinson on the Time Team excavation dig. Love this stuff. You've got to forgive me, folks, it's been a long day, and I really haven't managed to get anywhere apart from a bit of a dog walk, which wasn't quite as epic as I thought it'd be. So maybe I'm getting a bit stir crazy, I don't know. But we've got some way to go yet, haven't we, before the end of lockdown. I don't know, Trump is going to free you guys in the States. Watch out. guys, the Medusa Touch. It's silly, it's hokum, but it's great good fun as well, and it's well worth sticking with for that, you know, that earth-shattering climax, which is so exciting and just great good fun. Pure schlock at the same time. But if the film does fit into this Carrie, Patrick, Firestarter, Scanners, The Fury, that little vogue, that little niche of mental nutcases with powers that can destroy the world. Folks, I'm going to leave it there because I think I took up too much of your time with this inanity. Anyway, in the meantime and in between time, you guys stay safe, stay happy, do whatever you can while you're in lockdown, watch movies, drink alcohol, speak to your family. Jesus. Actually, I don't recommend that bit. Take up the bongos. Snake charming, who knows? But in the meantime and in between time, keep it kilted, keep it Celtic, and I'm going to see you all. He's still alive!